Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I've talked about the history of this channel multiple times, but some people may not know it. I originally opened the YouTube account because I wanted to tweet a poem which I had written about a decent young man that was murdered in Kenosha, Wisconsin. He was trying to come to the aid of some protesters who were being shot by another fellow who explicitly went out of his way, crossed state lines, looking to kill some people, apparently. I'm not sure if that's what the jury decided. I didn't follow the case that closely, but that started this. And then I transformed it into a sphere for posting poetry, poems. So my earlier videos were all that, and then I let it rest. And then a couple of years ago, I transformed it into a BookTube channel as I try to improve my reading ability. Well, these last couple of months now, reading has gone out the window, and I've gone back to writing poems and posting poems, mostly of a topical nature, dealing with themes of the day. And it's an interesting experience in a way because YouTube divides your videos into two different types. There is the ones that are formatted this way, which are just YouTube videos, and then the ones that are formatted the other way, like if you were holding your phone this way, that they call shorts, particularly if they are short in length. And those shorts tend to get a wider distribution, I guess you would say, than ones like this. So when I write a poem, depending on how long it turns out to be, I will either post it like this or post it in the other format. Now, there's wiggle room there because I think you can go up to 3 minutes in the vertical format. And for me, I'm still an old timer. So for me, I try to make 1 minute the cutoff. So anything over a minute, I try to present like this. And anything that's shorter than 1 minute, I put in the vertical format. It doesn't really matter. I write trying to serve the muse, and then I post according to those prerogatives, so I'm not trying to figure out the algorithm or anything like that. I have figured out a couple of things about the algorithm, but I intentionally do not service that because my goal is not to get a gazillion followers or anything like that. I'm just partaking of an activity which I enjoy. And since I have this connection with the muse, it is a natural activity for me to be engaging in. If the shoe fits, wear it. So on BookTube, my videos don't have a wide reach, and people who come and comment tend to be literary people or people interested in books, that kind of thing, which is a very small portion of the population, probably of any country, certainly of the United States, a minuscule portion. But the shorter videos in the vertical format do get a wider reach. And as a writer of poetry, I don't write for one demographic in particular. I think poets tend to write more for the unwashed and ill-educated than they do for the erudite, the university-bound or ivory tower-bound erudite, high-class elites. So for me, it's perfectly suitable. But then sometimes I get comments on one of those videos from somebody who is not aware of much about poetry, And so I got a comment that I thought was just really interesting. And this person said, you will never get paid, pal." And I answered, that's the rule for poets. You can see there. "You will never get paid, pal. That's the rule for poets," I said. Well, I mean, anybody, maybe when I was writing my first poems at age 15 or whenever it was, I really dived into the activity. I was thinking, oh, one day I could become a writer of poetry who gets paid. Very, very few people get paid for books, period, that they write of any sort. And as far as poets, maybe Billy Collins does, but it's really not a thing and has not been a thing. And I became aware of that very early on along the road. But the comment, "You will never get paid, pal," it's interesting. It takes me back. When I was young, it sounds like something my father would have said. You will never get paid for that." Well, I mean, he wasn't interested in culture or that kind of thing. Now, I would say when he was older, he, I think, changed his tune a little bit and would have come at things from a very different perspective. But during the course of when I really knew him, that would have been the sort of thing he would have said. "You will never get paid." And I think it's a particularly right-wing leaning sentiment. Because of the nature of the poetry being posted, I'm guessing that this commenter is a MAGA nut or a MAGA chud, I think is the right word. No disrespect intended, really. Let us just say a follower of Donald Trump and that ilk. Because some people will say, "I don't really like Donald Trump, but I like all of the things he's doing," that kind of thing. And I think there's something about that worldview which tries to monetize everything. Every transaction has to be monetized. And so an activity, if you don't get some kind of compensation for it, if there's no pecuniary value to it, it's not worth doing. And I haven't really thought about it in those terms before, but I really don't think that is true. When I write a poem, when I post a poem, I'm not expecting any kind of compensation. Actually, the best compensation I get is when somebody leaves me a nice comment like that. Now, you may say, well, that's not the nicest comment you could have gotten. The ones I love are when people try to write little verses of their own. I've got my rhyme hunting brigade on the case for every new poem I post, and I really love that. And people can do things that are fun just for the fun of it. They don't have to get paid. And I think sometimes I load the dogs up into the car, drive up north. There's I don't know what you call it, a park or a nature preserve, and there's things growing all over the place. It's not on the lakefront, meaning Lake Michigan, but it does have a lake, and you go there and you walk around and you walk by the lake, and sometimes you see other people walking some dogs, and there are people possibly riding a bicycle. Very few of those, which is what makes it especially nice for dog walking or just for walking. And you don't get paid. So when I come back, it's like if somebody said, "You're not going to get paid for that, pal." Oh, well, you don't have to get paid. You really don't have to get paid for anything. And I think that is an aspect of the liberal mentality. Since Ronald Reagan, there has been a caricature floating around of what it means to be liberal or liberal-minded. It traditionally was a great compliment. You could give to a person. He had great liberality of mind, alas, and now he is buried here. You know, that was chiseled in stone in Westminster Abbey for somebody, as I recall. Or just a really great compliment. But Ronald Reagan and his crew fashioned kind of a caricature of what liberal meant. I don't want to go into that, but here I live in Chicago, which is sort of a bastion of liberality, if you will, and it's really wonderful. People who know me see that sometimes I go to the symphony. Chicago Symphony Orchestra is pretty good. We have a new maestro coming, a new conductor. I can't pronounce his name right, Klaus Makaela or something, and we're really looking forward to his tenure. I think I have a concert scheduled pretty soon, which he will be conducting at. And it's really just kind of wonderful to be able to do these things. When I was out this morning just walking, we have these little neighborhood boxes where people put books for you to take if you like. You can also leave off your own book. And I got one. Look at this shipping container. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a book of poems, because what could look more like a book of poems than something like this? But no, it's not. It's actually a book about shipping containers, and it's great. I mean, what a fantastic life this is. Where I think people of the future, if say miraculously some of these YouTube videos survive, they're going to look back on us and say, wow, what incredibly rich lives these affluent people were able to lead. Lives which people of the pecuniary mentality are trying to destroy. This book is all about supply chains and people wanting to minimize time and stuff, and our regime right now is explicitly trying to destroy all of those things. Some years ago, the mayor of Chicago did a sort of dastardly thing. There was an airport at Meigs Field. I think it's a little island. And he went and had construction crews come and just tear up the runways for the airplanes to use. They were used by the elites and the well-to-do. And I don't know what was impeding his transformation of that island into a nature park or whatever through legal channels, but he decided to effect the change illegally by just tearing the stuff up. Now I don't know why I was talking about that. But and that is a perfect metaphor of what our current regime is trying to do with trade in this country, and has already done so. Just tear it all up. To what purpose, I don't know. I don't see any ecological aim. Possibly there is a superior ecological aim which I cannot fathom. Sometimes we are told that this regime is playing four-dimensional chess. But anyhow, I don't want to really be talking about the politics. I just want to talk about this idea of the liberal lifestyle, where you can go out, you can just pick up a book and find it. We had this wonderful theater community in Chicago, just all kinds of these small storefront theater companies and even big ones. COVID kind of wrecked that a little bit, but in the time before COVID, it was really wonderful, really miraculous, frankly. And the other thing, just because of the nature of it, you can do all of this stuff practically for free. Now, you can choose to pay, and a lot of people do, and in fact, most people do. But it's very nice to be able to do these things affordably, and that option generally is available. I don't think the Lyric Opera lets you in to hear an opera or see an opera for free, but basically everything is available to people, and a lot of people avail themselves of those opportunities. We have festivals. Chicago is well known for its blues festival, its jazz festival. There was a gospel festival. I think some of this stuff is going away now, post COVID. But what could be more ideal of a life? I mean, I remember a comedian once saying about work. He said, "Well, you know, odious jobs or whatever. Well, that's why they call it work," he says. So, if you do something because you get paid for it, or you have to do something because you need to get paid for it, that's not the best possible use of your time. You could be doing something just for the sheer joy of it, for its own interest and value in its own right. And I think particularly a lot of these rightward leaning folks haven't really thought about such like ideas. They tend to put everything into a little box that if you're going to do something, there has to be some kind of transactional return, whereas the non-pecuniary valuation of things, you can just do something for itself and it has its own intrinsic value. So as I say, going to this park or nature preserve, walking around, looking at the birds, looking at the, cattails growing by the wall, it's just delightful of itself, and you don't have to get paid for it. So this was just a thought which occurred to me this morning. I mean, I appreciate everybody who comes to my channel and comments. And now I've got to get back to my my pastime of these days, scribbling in my brand new notebook. Thank you for stopping by my channel.